So tell me, Vanessa, how do you think your lesson went?
I thought it was pretty effective. I was very happy that Damien seemed to pick up on the questioning pretty quickly.
Yes.
He really, as soon as I think I modeled one question, he was saying, "Oh, I have a question." So that was great. That it was something he felt comfortable with. I think it took a lot longer than I was expecting because of all the conversation, sometimes related, sometimes not related to the book, that we didn't finish as much as I wanted.
Okay.
So we finished basically the guided practice, but we didn't get to the independent practice part that I had planned, which was just repeating the same procedures, but without any prompts.
Yes.
So, but overall, I thought it went well. I thought that he understood. I thought he could have done better, hopefully understanding why he should question the text, like what those reasons were. He started to rely just on that anchor chart and read right from there. And I think he still needs the thin and thick questioning. I don't think he really understood that from the lesson.
Yeah.
I thought maybe I could have, brought something else in to explain that a little bit more.
Okay. I'm going to back you up a little bit first for a moment. Tell me more about, let's talk about your time frame. How you said, you didn't quite get to that independent practice. Tell me about, like, kind of your set time frame. How do you think it went for your modeling piece into the guided practice? What do you think went too long? What, a little shorter? What do you think about that?
I think it was starting with the modeling because it's hard for Damien just to kind of be the passive participant. He wants to be more active.
Absolutely.
So when I'm modeling, he wants to get involved, and that just slows down that process a little bit of trying to do the modeling. So maybe I don't need to do as much modeling.
I'm going to kind of, for a moment, just sharing the data with you, the time right here, like you began your lesson at 9:15. I wrote that down. And for your before reading, your initial explanation took 3 minutes and 58 seconds. And that was all the before, and then getting into reading the text and things like that, and then your explaining your questions took 4 minutes and 15 seconds.
Okay. Was that explaining the questions that I had created before?
Yes. Okay. That was after you read.
Okay.
When you went back and explained. But I just wanted to touch upon this piece of data here. Your modeling before reading was at 9:15, and then the guided practice where you read chapter 2 was at 9:50.
Okay, yeah, that's a long amount of time.
So any kind of reflection upon that?
I guess I probably can shorten my teacher talk, like I said. Try to get it to maybe even just 1 minute.
Yeah.
Something quick, or try to get some other activity, something else more interactive for him.
Okay.
So, and that's a long time just to be on modeling.
Well, like you said, I mean, Damien was very active, and he really participated in that piece. So there was a lot of back and forth with your kind of explaining the questions and things like that. Talk to me a little bit about reading the chapter. When you read chapter 1 out loud to him, how do you think that went?
I thought that went pretty well. He, was enthusiastic about the book. I think he probably, interrupted to talk about certain things where maybe, trying to get him to just, all right, let's just focus on listening, following along in your text, and just focusing on the questions. Yeah. Instead of, I'm not sure, it's hard for me to remember exactly what he did or said that, maybe would have interrupted that process. Yeah. Well, I know I was planning on just modeling, but then he started coming up with his own questions. Yes. So I didn't want to interrupt that because that's the whole point of the lesson. So I think that's also why it took a little longer, and you kind of have to, fix the lesson as you go because he was picking up on it.
Do you think kind of getting into that picking up on, and he was asking some questions and trying to answer your questions? Right. Do you think with the lesson he had enough time for that independent practice? Do you think there's any kind of way to bring
I think maybe now that you said that he was trying to answer my questions, I think maybe being more specific with, we're not going to answer these questions yet. Right now we're just trying to read and ask. Then we'll go back and answer. Maybe that would have cut down on some of those like interruptions. And kind of like that discussion that we had, like, oh, well, does it say this in the book or not say this in the book?
Yeah.
But later, like, it was good discussion, but I think just to try to keep it more focused.
Yes. Tell me a little bit about like the length of chapter 1, or like the length of the chapters.
I didn't bring it with me, so
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I thought that the reason I planned it for the chapters were, I thought, there were pretty clear ending points that to go back and then look back at that chapter. I didn't think they were too long, especially he works at a quick pace. So maybe I could break it up some more, do less modeling in the chapter, like maybe only do 1 or 2 pages instead of the whole chapter.
Yeah.
I was trying to get as much done as possible because I'm hoping we will finish the book in our lessons that we have, and I'm afraid that
I think
we won't get too far.
And I'm wondering, as you just kind of mentioned, breaking the chapter up into modeling some, do you think there would have been another way, kind of, and then it's okay to get through 1 chapter? I mean, he was engaged in your lesson. What do you think about breaking it up at all? Was there kind of a different opportunity for that?
Yeah, once he started getting the questions, I probably could have broken it up and said, oh, he doesn't really need this modeling so much. But I wasn't sure because, he was coming up with questions, but I wasn't sure if he was getting the idea that, oh, you should come up with questions when you're confused. You should come up with questions just to review the information. So, I probably could have kind of said, okay, he got it. Let me just model and do the guided practice at the same time.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea. Do you think then if you would have taken that approach, is there a way at that point to see if you kind of mentioned you weren't sure if he got it. Is there a way to kind of see if he got it or not at that point?
I guess I could have asked him when he created the question, why did you ask that question? Was it and then maybe at first give him the choices. Was it because you're confused? Was it because to review, or was it just because you wonder?
Great.
I wonder.
Yeah, I think that would have been a perfect opportunity there to kind of see and provide more independence for him, as you kind of mentioned, breaking up the chapter. So let's kind of go into those questions. At the end, you talked about thick and thin questions. How do you think he did with that kind of objective in that piece of your lesson?
I think that was the less effective part, because I think he was definitely confused by it. I think he did a little bit better when I specifically asked him, where do the answers for the thin questions come from? And he's able to say, oh, just from the book.
Yes.
But I think those thick questions, the inferential questions, he's still confused about the difference. I think this question, will the teacher get mad because they are being goofy? I was thinking it's more of a thick inferential question, because I have to use my background knowledge about teachers and how they're going to react to the kids.
Yeah.
Where he thought, no, that answer is going to be right in the book. And we kind of got it back and forth with that.
Yes.
So I think that just modeling more of those types of questions, and for the follow-up today, because I didn't finish this, I'm going to go actually introduce the word inferential and talk about the background knowledge plus evidence.
Okay.
So just bringing it, back and making sure he really does understand the difference between the two types of questions.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad, because, he obviously knew how to ask questions, and I think that's a good point that you just made. In continuing, I was going to ask about continuing your instruction with that, and being more specific about what is a thick question or inferential question, and his understanding of that. Excellent. I was very impressed with his ability to ask questions. He was right into it and responding into the text.
Right, he didn't really need many prompts at all, so that was good.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think at the end too, just looking at the poster, he was reading right off the poster. I just like how you then covered it up and asked him again just to really check.
Right.
And I mean, kind of as your first lesson, getting him to just be able to understand and being able to explain a little bit why was an important piece to it. This is kind of going in another direction for a moment. I just want to talk about this is talk about like your thoughts on Damien's behavior. I noticed a few things you did really well, and any ideas with that?
I think maybe I'm trying to think about how I can best explain to him like the behavioral expectations because I want him to enjoy the lessons, but I want us to use our time wisely, of course. So I think maybe breaking it down a little bit more and it's like saying exactly like maybe a list of what each lesson is going to include. So that way he can keep track of things and maybe looking at the time and saying, okay, we need to move on from talking about, a connection that you had because, we still have to get this done and we have, 10 more minutes to do it.
Yeah. Good. So kind of talking, because he kept interrupting. I know it's kind of point out at one point you used a quiet voice to bring him back and it worked right away. Any other kind of pieces like that maybe to help with the interjecting that he kind of likes to control?
Maybe I can do something like I give him, I don't know, I could use Post-its or like popsicle sticks or something. And like I said, you get to interrupt me 3 times throughout this part of the lesson once you use your popsicle sticks.
I mean, I think that
Something
would be
like
an
that.
awesome idea, getting him to realize, okay, it's time to listen, it's time to speak, and that would be a way for him to visualize and see, okay, I need to listen now. I use my popsicle stick.
Right.
I like that idea. I think that will be supportive of Damien. Overall, I mean, anything else? We covered the focusing, which you also asked me with the data, losing focus. Overall, I mean, he was okay. He liked to control, but for the most part, he stayed engaged in the lesson.
Right. I do think
it was a total of 14 times. Okay. But in speaking with, got you.
It's hard to know.
And then we'll talk.
Yeah, just if it was the whole. Do you know what time is this? What time my lesson ended?
Yes, 9:58.
So it was about 45 minutes, basically. So, 14 times in 45 minutes? I still think it's a lot, but it's not out of control.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I agree. And we kind of talked about a little bit controlling that even a little bit more. All right. So very nice job.
Okay,
I mean, I think definitely Damien got the objective, and you're going to continue working on inferential questions.
All right. Thank you.